right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pete's Puck Talk via podcast. So we've had a very exciting first round in the NHL playoffs so far. There's still one more series to be determined before we get on to the second round, but I'm not waiting for that series to end. It ends tonight. I want to get into the second round, and let's get right to it. So the first series I want to look at is San Jose versus Vegas Golden Knights. What? The Vegas Golden Knights are in the second round of the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Who thought they were going to sweep? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I said sweep. The Los Angeles Kings? That's crazy. I mean, I picked them in like a ballsy move, I thought, in the last second. I thought I picked the Kings. Sorry, I picked the Knights to beat the Kings in 7 games. I didn't think they were going to beat them in 4. I thought maybe the Magic was going to carry them, and they might get through the first round and somehow beat Los Angeles in a struggle. They didn't struggle at all. Marc-Andre Fleury had 2 shutouts. I think he gave up like 3 goals in 4 games or something crazy. They're playing really well. And then on the other side, San Jose. I thought it was going to be a battle for them too. I thought they were going to play Anaheim all the way to the brink. I picked Anaheim actually to win in 7. I was completely shocked by that series. So yeah, Las Vegas, the first expansion team, not only to sweep in their first playoff series, they are the first expansion team to move on to the second round of the playoffs. And, oh man, I feel so bad for Columbus, too. Columbus has been around for a lot longer than Vegas, and they have yet to win a playoff series. A playoff series. It's crazy. I felt so bad for them. I thought they were going to do it this year, too. They came up 2-0 against the Caps, but, yeah, we'll talk about that later. Vegas and San Jose is going to be a hell of a series, but I'm really hoping that San Jose can take it to Vegas and kind of knock them down a notch and just bring them back to reality, because it's not fair. It's really not. It's not fair for Vegas to just have this much success the first year out. I know they wanted them to be competitive, but this is crazy. So I'm really hoping for San Jose to take this series in 6. Moving on, still staying out west, we've got a banger of a series in Nashville versus Winnipeg. This is the series that a lot of people predicted would happen in the playoffs, because a lot of people picked both of these teams possibly to make it to the finals. So, yeah, Nashville came out crazy against Colorado. I knew Colorado was going to give them a little bit of a fight. I thought Nashville was going to sweep them, to be honest. But Colorado came out and they won 2 games. But Forsberg played like a beast. He just had like 3 unreal goals during that series. It was too much for them to handle. And then in the other series, Winnipeg was just too much for Minnesota. Minnesota had a key injury to Zach Parise. He got sandwiched between 2 guys, and I think they broke his sternum. So, and yeah, Minnesota didn't have a whole lot of firepower to begin with, and yeah, Winnipeg was definitely way too much for them. The big Bufflin factor was out there in full force. He had a hell of a series, so he's going to be scary going up against Nashville. PK Subban up against Big Buff. It's going to be a really entertaining series. Both teams have a lot of offensive firepower. Both teams have unbelievable goaltending, and the defense on both teams are playing really well right now. So I actually am going to pick Winnipeg to upset Nashville in 7. A lot of people think Nashville, they basically just tweaked their lineup this year and are poised to make it back to the Stanley Cup final. I think Winnipeg just has this rush behind them, and their city, like Nashville last year, is just going to help them get all the way probably to the finals. All right, so moving to the East, we have the series that we see just about every single year, Washington versus Pittsburgh. I read a funny statistic that it was Washington has won every single series but 9 in the last 10 versus Pittsburgh. So Washington does not have too much luck against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. That's been Ovi's big hump, I guess he's got to get over, is he always ends up getting ousted by the Penguins. So this year, I think, is his year. I think Washington is finally going to knock out the Penguins, the back-to-back Cup champions, in 7 games. Now, I know Crosby and Gensel are having a ridiculous playoffs right now. They lit up Philadelphia. Philly gave them a fight, but there's just too much offense on Pittsburgh, and the goaltending was pretty good too. Ovi finally showing up in the first round. He's got a few goals. Washington was smart enough to switch to Holtby, and of course after they did that, they won 4 straight. It's going to be a really good series. I think it's going to be a big factor if Malkin stays hurt. I think Ovi is really hungry. I saw a quote from him saying that this is the year or something to that effect, that he knocks out the Penguins. So looking forward to this series as always, but like I said, I'm choosing Washington in 7. Which brings us to our last series, which is yet to be determined. As of tonight, the Game 7 between Boston and Toronto will take place tonight, and I picked Toronto to win this series in 7, and I'm still going with that. I really think, this unfortunate event that happened in Toronto recently, where the guy, took a van and hit a bunch of people, killed about 9 or 10 people, I think, and I think that really got the city to rally around the team, and the team to rally around the city, and they came out like gangbusters for Game 6, and I think they've just got too much momentum right now. I think they're gonna go into Boston and just give them a show. So I'm still staying with Toronto, but if the Boston Bruins do win, I think it's gonna be a really tough series for the Bolts if they end up playing Boston. I see that series going 7 if it does happen. But if we end up playing Toronto, I think the Bolts can pull it out in 6. They've got a lot of young guys that scare me, but I think their goaltending and their defense is where they lack. But I think it's enough to get them past the Bruins, I'm hoping, and get them to the second round so we can take care of them in 6 and move on to the conference finals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for episode number 2. I hope to do this again for next round. I'm hoping not to be a sourpuss and be exited out of the playoffs. My Bolts are destined to make a long run here this playoffs, and I'm hoping to keep you guys updated with my predictions and thoughts on this playoff series. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you come back for the next one, and let's go Bolts.